We got another horror movie to review today, and it is titled Clown in a Cornfield. But before we get into that, I gotta say, us horror fans are winning these next couple weeks and the next month, because just next week we have Final Destination Bloodlines coming to theaters. I just watched the first one and I thought it was really fun. It's my first time watching. I'm hopefully going to watch the rest of them this week. Then at the end of May, we have Bring Her Back coming out, which is from the same directors of Talk to Me. This one just screened for critics. It's getting some great reactions. And lastly, in June, we are getting what could be the best horror movie of the year, 28 years later. I'm so excited for that. And even though it's summer, Hollywood is feeding us good. Now let's talk about some clowns, and surprisingly, this is based off a book with the same name, Clown in a Cornfield, and I was even more shocked to learn that there's a whole Clown in a Cornfield series, because there's 3 of those books, and I'm only surprised that this was adapted from a book, because usually it's only like the Stephen King horror books that get adapted into movies. I mean, 70% or more of Stephen King's books have been made into movies. He's my favorite author. Pet Sematary was the first book I've ever read from him, but I haven't read his most famous story, his clown story, It. I've seen both the It movies, though. The It one was the first rated R movie I've ever seen in theaters, so it's a big movie for me. Clown movies are kind of big for me, but clowns in the last 5 years have kind of just disappeared. You know, we haven't had a lot of clown movies. There haven't been a lot of clown sightings in real life. If you remember back in 2016, 2017, a lot of people dressed up as clowns and were just being kind of creepy, just walking around, standing in sewers. There were some like real horror stories in like real life of people being weird as clowns. It was a weird time to be alive, but clowns were like at the top of their game. But now there's not many clown movies out. What do we have? We got like Terrifier movies. We've got some other clown movies that no one cares about, but now we've got Clown in a Cornfield. And you're probably wondering, did it save the day? Are clowns back? And I'm going to say they're a little back, because I enjoyed Clown in the Cornfield. I liked it, but I didn't think it was great. This more or less felt like an R-rated Goosebumps movie, but it also felt like a PG-rated Terrifier movie. And I'm only saying that as I've only seen the first Terrifier movie. And if you've seen the Terrifier movies, you know that they're really bloody, really gory. And this one doesn't go to those extremes. That's why I'm calling it like a PG-13 rated Terrifier movie. Because the clown in that movie, he rips people to shreds, does some bad things. Art the Clown is like one of the scariest clowns I've seen in movies. Pennywise is pretty scary. But in this one, Friendo, he's not that scary. I mean, he does do some, nasty kills here and there with like a pitchfork, a chainsaw, but it never really got to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm like grossed out watching this. We never got there. I never like to say, I want to see someone brutally murdered, but if we're doing like a killer clown, I want to see some really cool, nasty kills. And in this one, we only got like 70% there. There's one really cool kill with like a pitchfork and like a light bulb. That's one that I really liked. But out of that, it didn't really go far enough with its R rating for me to really say, wow, this is scary, man. I wouldn't want to mess with Friendo. I'll be like, Friendo, I like you, but I want you to stay a little bit far away from me. Stay like 3 feet away from me. So yeah, this one didn't go far enough with that R rating. I wanted it to be a little bit scarier. It kind of felt like, a Goosebumps movie or like a Scream movie, but instead of Ghostface, you're getting Friendo the Clown. And to be honest, this will be a shorter review, as when I talk about horror movies or slashers, I never want to give too much away because there can be like big reveals and twists going on here, but I can't lie. I almost gave up on this movie like 20-30 minutes into it, because I thought it was going to do something really obnoxious and obvious with the killer, but then like the second act hits in this movie and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, because there's a pretty good twist in this movie. And I don't think they show in the trailers, so if you haven't heard any information or read the book, you're going to like this twist. It got me right back in the movie, because I was like, I'm not really feeling this movie in the first 20 minutes. The kids are kind of obnoxious. They're like really insufferable high school students. But thankfully, once like that big twist happened, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'll talk about the cast for a moment, even though I really didn't know anyone in this ensemble outside of like Kevin Durant, who I thought was good here, but a little underutilized. Then we had Katie Douglas, who's the main character. This is the first thing that I've ever seen her in. Thought that she was a pretty good actress here. I'd like to go back and watch her previous stuff. I'd like for her to be in another horror movie, but our character here wasn't that great. I mean, she didn't really get that much to do, considering she's like the main final girl here, because there's too many side characters. She hangs out with a big group of people. I thought that she didn't have enough time to shine. They tried to give her some depth, but it didn't really work for me. I wish her character had more depth, but I really liked Katie Douglas as an actress here. Overall, Clown in a Cornfield is a fun time at the theater, but it felt like an appetizer for the better horror movies we'll be getting in the next month. I'm now more interested in the book series to see how a potential sequel would work out. I like some of the kills here, thought the twist was pretty nice, but I wish it was slightly scarier, more serious, and smarter with its characters. Clown in a Cornfield gets a 6.5 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, but I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.